Eburon was a village where time seemed to slow, where the trees whispered ancient stories and the rivers carried the voices of ancestors. In the heart of this village lived Amara, the bright-eyed young woman with dreams that stretched far beyond the fields and forests that surrounded her home. With her cousin Kiro by her side, they were inseparable, studying late into the night for their final school exams. Their small clay house stood as a testament to their mother, Amanda's hard work. She had raised them alone, instilling in them the value of education and the strength of perseverance. Each day, as they pored over their books, Amanda would bring them food from her vegetable stall, her hands rough but her spirit gentle. Their teacher, Mr. Okek, was a kind man with a deep belief in their potential. He often stayed late after class, offering extra lessons to those who sought it. Among them was Lunga, a quiet but intelligent boy from a wealthy family, whose humility set him apart from others. Amara couldn't help but feel drawn to Lunga. His sharp intellect and quiet charm had captured her attention in ways she hadn't expected. But while she was slowly falling for him, Kiro kept a secret of his own, his quiet affection for Lunga, buried beneath layers of brotherly camaraderie. Amara's feelings for Lunga grew with each passing day. She admired his dedication to his studies, his respect for others, and the way he never flaunted his wealth. What she didn't know, however, was that her cousin Kiro was watching her closely. He noticed the way her eyes lingered on Lunga a little longer than they should, the way her cheeks flushed whenever Lunga spoke. Kiro, on the other hand, had known for years that his own feelings for Lunga went beyond friendship. But the village was small, and the ways of the heart were even smaller. He couldn't speak of such feelings, not to Amara, then certainly not to Lunga. So, he kept quiet, playing the role of the supportive cousin, all the while his heart ached in secret. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills and the stars began to emerge in the twilight sky, Amara gathered the courage to tell Kiro about her feelings for Lunga. They sat by the river, the water reflecting the pale light of the moon.
Kiro, I need to tell you something. I think I'm in love with Lunga.
For a moment, the words hanging in the air like a weight pressing down on his chest. But he smiled, forcing the pain down. That's great, Amara.
He's a good man.
Inside, Kiro's heart fractured. But his love for his cousin and his fear of rejection kept his own feelings buried deep within. It wasn't long before Amara found the courage to confess her feelings to Lunga. One afternoon, after an extra tutoring session with Mr. Okek, she caught Lunga as he was packing up his books. Her heart pounded in her chest as she rehearsed her words in her mind, trying to find the perfect way to tell. She called out, her voice
Lunga.
trembling slightly. He turned, his soft brown eyes meeting hers with curiosity. Yes, Amara. Amara took a deep breath.
I think I have fallen for you. I've admired you for long and I just wanted you.
Lunga blinked, surprised by her honesty. For a moment, he was silent, processing her words. Then, with a kind smile, he spoke softly.
Amara, you're a wonderful person. I truly value our friendship, but I don't feel the same way. I hope we can still be friends.
Amara's heart sank, but she smiled bravely.
Of course, Lunga, I understand.
Though Lunga's words were gentle, they left Amara feeling raw and vulnerable. As she walked home that evening, her mind spun with a mixture of emotions, disappointment, embarrassment, and a strange sense of relief. She had put her feelings out into the open, and though they weren't returned, she felt proud of herself for her courage. Despite Amara's heartbreak, Lunga and Amara's friendship grew stronger. They spent more time studying together, often discussing their dreams and ambitions. Amara admired Lunga's dedication to his goals, while Lunga respected Amara's resilience. Hiro, however, observed the closeness with a tinge of jealousy. Although he cared deeply for both Lunga and Amara, their growing bond reminded him of his own suppressed feelings. He began to withdraw slightly, hiding his internal struggle under the mask of friendship. The trio still shared moments of joy and laughter, but the dynamics between them were changing. Amara had accepted Lunga's friendship, yet part of her heart still clung to the hope that one day things might change. Hiro, though silent, felt a growing distance from both of them. As exam results approached, tension built in Eburon. Amara, Lunga, and Hiro spent sleepless nights preparing, hoping to secure spots in prestigious universities. Their hard work paid off when the results were announced. Amara had earned a scholarship to study in Nyanda, Lunga was accepted into an engineering program in Kawato, and Hiro secured a place at a polytechnic nearby. There was joy, but also a sadness, knowing they would be going their separate ways soon. Evening before their departure, the trio gathered one last time by the river. Though they promised to stay in touch, none of them could predict how time and distance would test their friendship. Amara's life in Nyanda was thrilling and fast-paced. The city buzzed with opportunity, and her university experience opened her eyes to new possibilities. She excelled academically and quickly became one of the top students in her program. But amid the excitement, she missed home. Letters from Hiro and Lunga kept her connected to Eburon, but she could feel the distance growing. Hiro's letters became more brief and distant, while Lunga remained a constant source of warmth and encouragement. As the months passed, Amara found herself distracted by her studies and new friends. She became more focused on her career, often leaving less time to maintain her bonds with Hiro and Lunga. While Amara navigated the academic world, Hiro was steadily rising in his field at the Polytechnic. Though he wasn't as far from home as Amara or Lunga, he began to carve out a space for himself, excelling in his studies and building a reputation as a hardworking and reliable student. Hiro's feelings for Lunga remained, but he buried them deeper as time passed. He focused on his own ambitions, distancing himself from the emotional turmoil that once plagued him. His occasional letters to Amara were polite but lacked the warmth they once held. He was proud of her success, but something in their friendship had shifted. He wondered if they would ever truly reconnect. Lunga, now in Kawato, was thriving in his engineering program. He had always been driven by a quiet ambition, and now, away from the familiar faces of Eburon, he was able to fully dedicate himself to his studies. Despite his success, Lunga often found his thoughts wandering back to Amara and Hiro. He missed the simplicity of their time together in the village. His letters to Amara were frequent though filled with updates on his life and expressions of support for her dreams. Though he sensed a growing distance, Lunga hoped that one day they could reunite as friends and perhaps more. But with each passing day, the gap between them widened. In Nyanda, Amara met Leah, a student in her class who came from a wealthy and influential family. Leah was ambitious, driven, and charismatic, and she quickly became one of Amara's closest friends. Their friendship blossomed, and Leah introduced Amara to new social circles, expanding her network. Amara found herself drawn into a world of influence and power that she had never imagined growing up in Eburon. As Amara became more entangled in Leah's world, she felt a growing distance between herself and the people she had once been closest to. Kiro and Lunga's letters, once a source of comfort, now felt like relics from a past life. As her relationship with Leah deepened, Amara found herself at a crossroads. Leah's family offered her a sense of security that she had never known, and Amara became increasingly dependent on her friend, both emotionally and financially. In a moment of vulnerability, Amara secretly married Leah. The decision was impulsive, driven by a desire for stability in a foreign land. She kept the marriage hidden from her family and friends, knowing they would never understand. Back in Eburon, Kiro and Lunga continued their lives, oblivious to the secret Amara was keeping. Though Amara sent money home, explaining it as a result of extra work, she could feel the weight of her lies growing heavier with each passing day. Months passed, and Amara's secret marriage to Leah weighed heavily on her. Her letters home became more sporadic, and when she did write to her mother, Kiro, or Lunga, she carefully avoided any mention of her life with Leah. She felt torn between the person she had become in Nyanda and the girl she had been in Eburon. Back in Eburon, Kiro and Lunga noticed the growing distance. Kiro, especially, became more suspicious. He found Amara's letters cold and impersonal, a far cry from the warmth they had once shared. Lunga, on the other hand, remained hopeful that Amara was just busy with her studies. The silence between the friends began to feel insurmountable. After finishing his studies in Kawato, Lunga returned to Eburon for a brief visit. The village, with its familiar sounds and smells, felt like a heaven after years away.